Yeah. Hi, everyone. Uh, so my name is Naveen Kumar Beti. I'm a research scholar in Department of Political Science. Uh, so the college or the university is affiliated to Davangere. It's called Davangere University, state of Karnataka in India. The topic is traversing the LGBTQ developments in Karnataka, a sectoral analysis of education, health, and employment. So, so we will look at what is LGBTQ in brief. The LGBTQ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and Q stands for queer. The queer is a collective term which comprises of the several the gender aspects. So the LGBTQ stands different from the binary point of view when it comes to gender studies. When we say binary, it refers to the male and female. But LGBTQ community or the queer community, they do not ascribe their identities to the binary identities. They want to stand at different, or they want to have a different identity apart from the men and the women. So, in the context of the gender studies or gender inequality, LGBTQ or the queer community, we can see them as a marginalized community because when we look at the numbers, they are very less in number. Though in the state of India, they make a very significant number. But when we see from the point of their rights and the freedom being exercised in the mainstream society, we can consider them as a marginalized group. And so with the developments or the movement that is happening around the LGBTQ community, we can see some of the major decisions from the Supreme Court of India and also policy initiatives from the state of Karnataka and also state of India. So the study focuses on some of the sectoral aspects or the sectoral studies which has been done in education, health and employment in the state of Karnataka. So there were some significant judgments from the Supreme Court of India. In 2014, there was a judgment called NALSA Judgment. So in that judgment, the queer community or the transgender persons were identified as a third gender, and which opened up a series of judgments, and also the landmark judgment recognized their identities as a legal identity. So now if we look at some of the application forms or from the legal point of view, they are being called as a third gender. So that's one of the landmark judgments. And further, based on that landmark judgments are some of the policies around the LGBTQ, the government of India specifically made Transgender Persons Act. So the law was enacted to prohibit any form of discriminations against the queer community, especially in the education, health, and the healthcare. So we will look at the next slide, especially some of the policy initiatives done by the Karnataka. So aligned to the national policy of the India, the Karnataka has brought out a transgender policy, which was seen as a significant step. And also to give effect to the act, the Karnataka government has made Transgender Persons Rule 2021. The details of the act are aligned to the overall scheme or overall goal of some of the rules and regulations made by the India. Going ahead, the Karnataka government has given 1% reservation in the government job, which is a significant step. So when we see the some of the decisions made by the states in comparison, we can say that Karnataka and also Kerala government, which are in forefront to make some of the policies or to enact some of the rules in the queer community. Further, if we want to see some of the data with respect to education, the education being the fundamental right of anybody in state of India, especially the queer people, they experiences a lot of challenges in education sector. When we see some of the numbers, So there are at least 50% of the people which faces one or other discrimination in education system. So when we look at some of the other data, there are 75% of the people who never attempt or get dropped before completing the class 10. Nearly 80% of the people faces one or other forms of bullies in education sector, are being abused or facing verbal abuses are very common in the education. So overall, we can say that the education being the fundamental right and also the basic need of any human being, uh, the transgender people or the queer community faces various hurdles at several stages, and very less percentage of the people complete their grade 10 or move to higher studies. So in terms of the health, we can observe various forms of discrimination in the health sector also. Uh, so after the education, the queer community faces a lot of health challenges, because when they suspect or when they question their physical identity, the next step is to either being examined by a professional doctor. So when they approach the healthcare system, even from the healthcare point of view, they face various discrimination. Some of the data says that at least 30% of the people experiences one or other negative forms of discrimination. There are nearly 40% of the LGBT people who avoid being treated by a doctor, or they are less likely to see a healthcare due to negative experiences. And data says that around 22% of the people, they do not go for any form of the insurance. And anxiety and depressions are very common. So when they questions their identity and they experience symptoms of anxiety and the depression, until they overcome or until they start accepting themselves. And there are 50% of the 50% of the people, they face one or other severe mental health crisis. And considering these aspects, the suicide has been a very common thing in the LGBTQ people. When we look at some of the employment sector, we also highlighted that Karnataka government has done 1% of the reservation in the government jobs. But in reality, when we see the actual numbers, there are only around 5% of the people who are formally employed. Due to due to their physical attributes or due to their mental setups, they are being denied jobs in various industries, and there are much more denied jobs in the front end desk. But they have been, so when they complete some form of formal education, and there are significant number of people who are completing the formal education and also seeking their jobs, but even then they faces a lot of discrimination in the work. And with that is discrimination, there are nearly 33 to 35% of the people who leave their jobs in their due to the discriminations. So, but the state of Karnataka being forefront in MNCs and MNCs and also software jobs, the trend is increasing that there are more and more people, transgender people seeking jobs in the IT industries, and their numbers also increasing. Even the MNC companies also, they do encourage LGBTQ people, and some of the companies also actively promote LGBTQ identity openly in their work culture. So that's a positive step. So when we see some of the challenges as I highlighted, LGBTQ people faces a lot of discrimination in education and also health and also employment sector. So despite that, we can say that Karnataka has taken a lot of initiatives to alleviate their problems. So if we look at some of the pride marches in Karnataka, we can say that the cosmopolitan culture that is seen in the Bengaluru has provided a space for the LGBTQ people. The Karnataka and the Bengaluru is in forefront recognizing the identity. So there are several open forums in Bengaluru which recognizes and help the LGBTQ or the queer community to gather and then there discuss their issues. And we can see some of the activities which who have opened their trusts or their organizations and they have played a lot of role in several Supreme Court judgments. So one of the famous personality is Akkai Padmashali, who is from the Karnataka and has been the champion for the voices of the queer community. But in general, we can say that Karnataka has a robust legal framework, and also there are critical gaps exist between the policy and also the actual experiences. So when we look at the experiences, they have to still bridge the gap between the policy expectations. We can also say that the true measure of development will be robust implementation of these laws and comprehensive sensitization across all sectors to bridge this gap. With this, I would like to conclude, and I thank for the opportunity that is being given to present this paper in front of the forum. Thank you very much.